My name is Taylor Boone. I'm a current grad student at Cabarrus College of Health Sciences. I'm working towards my Master's of Occupational Therapy. This presentation coincides with my final capstone project titled Understanding the Benefits of a Community Garden on Those Impacted by Food Insecurity. If you're receiving this presentation along with the pre and post surveys, I've identified you and/or your organization as a resource in our community that could benefit from this information. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen, and I promise to make this as quick and painless as possible. Okay, so first things first, let's discuss the objectives of this presentation. First, we'll identify what exactly occupational therapy is and how it's involved in the area of nutrition. Then we'll address how occupational therapists can address food insecurity and the resulting impact of food insecurity on occupational performance. The effects of a community-based garden on individuals and families' overall health and quality of life will be reviewed, along with the impact of these types of gardens on occupational performance. Overall, the research compiled to complete this project revealed that OTs, or occupational therapists, have a role in improving the nutrition of not only an individual, but communities through interventions that promote occupational engagement, like a community-based program or garden. Before we deep dive into the world of nutrition, gardening, and all of that good stuff, I thought it would be a good idea to review some words that will come up a lot in this presentation. First is occupational therapy. Occupational therapy helps people across the lifespan to do things they want to do through the therapeutic use of daily activities. Second, occupations. Occupations refer to the everyday activities that people need, want, and are expected to do. These are the everyday activities that people do as individuals, families, and with communities to occupy time and bring meaning and purpose to life. Next is occupational performance. Occupational performance defined as the accomplishment of the selected occupation resulting from the dynamic transaction among the client, their context, and the occupation. So this is how well an individual can complete the occupation, taking into consideration their own personal situation, whether that's their physical health, mental health, their social, economical situation, or any other barriers, and that those encompass their contexts as well. And that all affects how someone can actually perform those everyday activities that are so important. Next is food insecurity. This is defined as the insufficient access to foods necessary for individuals to engage in healthy and active lifestyles. Community-based programs. These are programs that are unique to each community and the practitioner working in them, using occupation to shape a society and daily life. And finally, occupational justice. This one isn't necessarily a key component of this project, but it is a topic I want to touch on as we move forward, and it will come up later, so I thought it best to define it. This is the belief that society should provide opportunities for the individuals that live there to participate in meaningful occupations and engage in their communities. So what exactly is OT's role in nutrition? Occupational therapy uses different models of practice that could benefit community-based programs and their ability to serve populations more effectively. Using different models of practice for OT, occupational therapies have the unique ability to facilitate improvement in occupational performance through improved overall health, wellness, and quality of life. So now we'll discuss OT interventions regarding nutrition. So how does OT work on nutrition? Occupational therapists can address nutrition by improving health and well-being. Number one, this can be done by using preventative methods. Improving nutrition can promote healthy occupations. Another intervention is by increasing food acceptance. Number two, Interventions include behavior modification. So picky eaters or those that have difficulty eating from sensory processing difficulties benefit from interventions that will increase their ability to take in new and different foods. Number 3, providing psychosocial support to clients is another intervention method. Accessing and managing food can be difficult and cause psychological and emotional distress, especially if the client views themselves as the provider for the family. Improving access to resources and managing finances and foods is beneficial. OTs treat holistically, meaning we consider all aspects of the client, viewing them as a whole. This includes taking into consideration the contexts that affect access to food. So number 4, physical, psychological, emotional, cognitive, social. Each of those contexts play a role in the person's nutritional intake and their ability to access nutrition. Occupational-based interventions, number 5, using interventions that are meaningful, functional, and promote occupational participation can be done as an individual, with families, and communities. These last 2 points tie into something I mentioned earlier, models. Models are ways in which occupational therapists can implement the occupational therapy framework into different populations using certain types of interventions, taking into account context, environments, and occupation, and how those 3 intermingle, resulting in occupational performance. One model that would be great to use when working in a community-based garden is the Person Environment Occupation Model, or PEO for short. The PEO model evaluates the interrelationship between a client or population, their environment, and the occupation. This model is best suited for addressing the health status of individuals and the impact of food insecurity on an individual's occupational performance by examining their personal and environmental contexts. So finally, number 6, community-based programs. So we just touched on that. These consider the person, environment, and occupation. These programs can improve access to food and resources in addition to understanding the resources and the community that they live in, how best to access and utilize those resources. Now that we've covered OT and nutrition, let's tackle food insecurity and how it impacts occupational performance, or how well an individual can complete their daily tasks. Reduced overall health and nutrition, resulting in decreased ability to perform self-care and home management tasks, cognition, and can lead to additional health concerns. So how does food insecurity actually impact individuals and communities? Let's see. First, it can impact cognition. Reduced nutritional intake has a direct effect on an individual's ability to process information and their working memory. It can also affect fine motor skills. Next, their overall health is decreased. Nutrition is reduced due to limited access to healthier fruits and vegetables, in addition to the psychosocial component of worrying about access to food, providing for family, and resource management. It's important that context and environments are taken into consideration when addressing food insecurity. Is the issue physical? Do they suffer from a chronic illness or disability with reduced independence in accessing food? Or is it social? Were they recently unemployed? Is it psychological? Are they depressed? Are they concerned with the COVID-19 exposure, reducing their ability to go to the grocery store or be around individuals due to anxiety? Temporal, reduced work during certain months. Is their access to food limited during those times? Cognition. Each of these directly impacts how and when an individual can access nutrition. Finally, using the PEO model, different interventions to address food insecurity and its impact on the occupational performance include these suggestions. Looking into meal delivery, healthy eating and cooking, learning new recipes, learning how to cook those, how to use the most of the food available to them. Community mobility, financial management. Do we need to look at a budget? Do we need to allot for more funds towards nutrition? Home modifications. What's the kitchen setup? Is it not conducive to cooking? Community resources. What's available to the individual? So now we've identified the problem. Food insecurity leads to decreased nutrition, causing reduced overall health, limiting occupational performance. Here's the solution. Community-based programs focused on occupation through gardening to promote improved occupational performance, health, and quality of life. The effects of community gardens on overall health are positive and beneficial to individuals and communities and can relate to occupational justice, that word that I mentioned earlier. First, we're going to look at improved access. The access to healthier foods at a lower and reasonable rate provides families with the opportunity for improving their nutritional intake. Mental health. Access to nature and open spaces can improve mental health, interpersonal relationships, and social interactions. And finally, physical health. This can result in improved physical stamina, strengthening, and increased vegetable intake, which just has a nutritional benefit. I mentioned occupational justice earlier. The participation in this occupation-based intervention of gardening in communities allows for participation in a meaningful occupation on a community level, meaning that society is providing an opportunity for a community to participate in an occupation and gain health and wellness and improved quality of life from it. Occupational therapy, community gardens, and occupational performance. All right, we've got all the parts. Now, how does it all fit together? Occupational therapists have the ability to provide programs and communities with support and guidance that will facilitate self-sufficiency and self-determination. This expands upon the ideals and principles of occupational justice for communities. Community-based programs act as an intervention to improve access and ability to participate in meaningful occupations. And finally, it facilitates health literacy, attaining health and well-being through social, physical, and economic environments, and public engagement and action for community health, all of which were tenets of the Healthy People 2030 initiative. So, there are some barriers to implementing a community-based program using occupational therapists, and those include both occupational therapists and community resources not understanding enough about the role of OT in not only community-based programs, but also nutrition in general. A solution to this barrier is implementing OTs into programs, using OTs as much as possible now that you know this information, and really taking into consideration all of the beneficial knowledge that we possess to really supply your community programs with more resources. Continue the research and break through the barriers of uncertainty that occupational therapists themselves possess in their role in these types of programs. So it all sounds pretty great, right? Well, where's my proof? Here it is. These are some research articles that I found that have been used to compile this information, and I've also supplied my capstone project with the information I needed. So first, in 2012, a community gardening project with 42 families was completed over the course of 2 years. The project resulted in improved vegetable intake, improved interpersonal relationships, and improved food insecurity for each of those families that participated. In 2016, 97 individuals, specifically refugees and immigrants, participated in a community garden, resulting in improved intake of fruits and vegetables, participation in physical exercise, and improved food security. In 2019, a study revealed that OTs are capable and uniquely qualified to address food insecurity through a holistic approach. Interventions should be occupation-based and take context and environments into consideration. Finally, a 2010 literature review completed on the current research regarding community gardening revealed that results including enhanced dietary habits, improved access, and interpersonal opportunities. So that's it. Thank you so much for your time and participation. I hope this information was in some way helpful and meaningful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I've left my email here. And thank you again so much.